Warren, could you start the recording, please? There you go. He beat me to it. Okay, good afternoon. I'm here with Susan Simons, and so we're just going to tag team this. And don't have a whole lot. I don't think it will even take an hour, but it depends on the questions that you guys have. First thing that we want to talk about are some updates from Octave. The state plan revisions and any action plans related to the state plan are due by September 1 and have to be put into the portal that they've set up for this purpose. Susan and I both are working on those revisions along with the rest of the state plan management team. I think things are in pretty good shape. I think we're on the borderline of being able to enter the revisions into the portal. Our Octave regional consultant has said that we can enter stuff into the portal without submitting it, and then she can get in there and see what we've entered to give us any feedback prior to the deadline of September 1st. So I'm going to try, I think, to enter the stuff in the portal maybe even by the end of this week. Then we have coming up the state directors meeting in DC from August 30th to September 1st. I will be going by my lonesome because Susan Simons is going to get cut on again.
I have 1 foot left.
So she is going to be out for a while again, starting the end of August. So I'll be going to the state directors meeting and at least have the chance to visit with people that I know. Then we also have a National Training Institute coming up in mid-November. The details for that have not been released yet, but hopefully one or both of us will be able to go to that. We also have what's called LEAP 2, National Reporting System Regional Training, October 4th to October 6th. I am for sure going to that in Atlanta. That will be more in the weeds of the National Reporting System tables under WIOA. So I'm really looking forward to getting more information and sharing that with you. Any questions about any of that? Okay. A few other updates from Octave. They are in the process of scheduling joint webinars with our core partners concerning the one-stop operation and performance. They are going to yet be providing more joint guidance on performance and data and privacy. I'm especially looking forward to the data and privacy portion to try to figure out how to meet the requirements under WIOA without violating FERPA. So we'll see what they come up with. And then there will be some joint technical assistance. They have, I can't remember if they've actually awarded a contract or if it's just still an RFP form for the WIOA Information Technology Support Center. But that is another upcoming source of support. One of the other things too on the webinars, now of course the guidance, anything I get, we will send out. Anything that we think can be helpful, of course we will send it out. The webinars, I don't have details enough yet to know what the focus of those would be as far as state level or local program level, but if there's a possibility that it would be useful information for you, regardless, we'll let you know. Okay.
So this is information that was shared with us about updates that's happening at the national level about different entities that have been awarded work with Octave's projects. And so you'll see that the first one's talking about the Connecting English Learners to Career Pathways. And this was awarded to Manhattan Strategy Group with RTI and WestEd as components of those that are going to be delivering that the services there. I'm telling you as much as what they have shared with us. So that was new information for me. The Links online portal. This is the contract that is going to continue to support and enhance the Links website and the user experience. It was awarded to Civic Actions. There's been lots of talk about how they are going to improve that and make it expand the options and the opportunities that all of us that use the online portal through Links in that capacity. So I will continue to send you updates as I receive that information. And then the last one is the Safal Partners was awarded the contract for the planning for research and evaluation of adult education and literacy activities. This is specifically to assist Octave develop the framework for meeting the WIOA national activity requirements. So they shared that with us during our call. One of the things that I did want to update you with that's not specifically on that, I did hear from Diana Basics, who is our Region 3 Links PD person, and I keep asking her about what's going to happen with Links because that's so integral to everything that we're doing with opportunities with professional development. And she said that they are still waiting to find out who has got the contract for the new Links Professional Development Center. And she stated to me today that as far as she knows, the new center will keep providing trainers to states for PD. So that was great news to hear. I don't have it in writing, but from what her understanding is, we will still be able to access trainers for PD. And she said that there's no word on when the resources are going to be available for the ESL Pro sites. So she had a call with her contact at DC this afternoon. Actually, she's probably talking to them right now, and I will send you out that information once she sends it to me.
Okay.
Any questions?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, and your favorite topic, Pablo. I wanted to speak a little bit about the WIOA consent tab and make sure that everyone is on the same page with this. The WIOA consent tab was not set up to be a general consent or a consent that was obtained during orientation. It should be used for those individuals that primarily are being referred to Commerce, to workforce services. You can use it for referrals to other partners, but it requires authentication. And so we really were shying away from using that at the time of orientation because we did not want people to be confronted with having to produce identification at the time of orientation. So the WIOA consent tab is not the same as the general FERPA release. However, if you have a general FERPA release from an individual, then at the very least, the WIOA consent tab, when it is obtained, should have that they have agreed to release information for KBOR and the local adult education program. We've had some programs that have had a discrepancy between those two because they were collected at different times. And so the individual maybe said yes to the FERPA consent and then did not release the WIOA consent for the purposes of KBOR and the local adult education program. So at the very least, those really should match. However, because we know that the WIOA consent tab is being completed later than the FERPA release, if they've said no to the FERPA release, but then they say yes for the WIOA consent tab, that's fine. It's more when it's the other way around, when they've said yes to the FERPA release and they say no to the WIOA consent tab. That's when the problem is, if the WIOA consent tab was completed later, does that mean they're revoking their FERPA consent? So that's one of those things to keep in mind. But remember that the WIOA consent was not intended to be something that was collected at orientation. It is intended for when that person is referred to a partner agency, and most of the time specifically workforce, that's when you collect the or you provide the authentication and complete the WIOA consent tab.
Nancy?
Yes.
When are we going to know that? Because you had called us on that one, and I don't know how our data person will know that.
Know what? I'm sorry?
Know when they're being referred to WIOA, or to workforce, I'm sorry.
That's up to you guys. You'd be making the referral.
Well, as far as I know, on that one person you called us about, we didn't. So I don't know. I'm totally confused about this.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, we're a big program, so I don't know how poor Vicki is going to know this. How do we?
She has to have
if they go to workforce on their own, huh?
She has to have the paper WIOA consent form to enter it in Pablo.
Okay, but like if they went to workforce, which is what I'm assuming happened. I mean, I don't know of anyone here in our program that referred this person.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
It wouldn't be completed
so you called
in Pablo because they went to workforce. It would only be completed in Pablo, should only be completed in Pablo if they completed that WIOA consent at your site.
Okay. I mean, to the best of my knowledge, and we are unaware of who would have completed that. So we were surprised that information was in there.
Okay. And it could be that, perhaps it was a mistake. I mean, it's hard to say, but the only time that it should be completed in Pablo is if someone at your program has obtained the WIOA consent form and the identification necessary to authenticate that individual. That's the only time it should be completed in Pablo.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Really? Wow.
Nancy?
Am I muted?
Nancy, can you remind people where they can get the paper copy of that WIOA?
Is it on our website?
I don't recall.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've sent it out, but we probably need to have it on the website.
Okay.
So we'll put it on the website if it's not already on there.
Okay.
And I heard of Vicki.
Yes. Can
Vicki
you hear me?
Johnson?
Yes, it's Vicki.
Okay. Hi, Vicki.
So what Liz was referring to was that you contacted us with that about that student saying that I had not marked it on the tab. So you contacted us and stated that it was not marked. That's what I think Liz is asking.
Right, but I think the person had authentication on the tab. I'd have to double check my notes. But I think
It did.
Okay,
It did.
so that
We don't know who did that. We don't know how it got there. That's what we're saying.
So that's the mystery. Okay, so no, that would not happen through Workforce. It would only happen through Pablo. It's not automatically.
Vicki is the only one that has right privileges, and Vicki did not put it in there. That's what we're saying.
Okay. Well, that one's.
It was news to us.
That's one for the ages. Then I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but since it was a fluke, we'll not worry about it. But just going forward.
I didn't know if that was part of the portal thing, that two-way. Like if it was a two-way thing, and
no,
these were in a populate in.
They're not connected.
Well, it automatically populates the student information, but not the authentication information.
Correct.
Correct, Nancy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, I'm not sure how that happened, but it shouldn't. So let me know if it does again. Okay.
Okay. I guess you'll let us know, probably.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Well, you guys asked me for some information. Actually, I believe the request was, could you find a simple way of or of giving us some information on the new requirements? Well, simple is probably a stretch, but here is a list of the new or changed fields that have been added in Pablo for data collection purposes. Under the Student Information tab, low income has been added as an option, and the employment status will be changed slightly. It has not yet been changed, but it will be here very, very soon. Then under the Programs and Goals tab, you now have these options to identify participants: displaced homemaker, youth and foster care, which for us, it's not going to be in, it's going to be aged out of foster care. Individuals within 2 years of exhausting lifetime TANF, and from what I've heard in Kansas, that's pretty much everybody. Veteran status, refugee status, ex-offender, eligible migrant and seasonal farm workers, and long-term unemployed. And I'm working on getting definitions for some of these that may not be obvious. But strangely enough, in WIOA the law and WIOA guidance, some of them don't really have definitions. The ones that do, however, I've gone ahead in this PowerPoint and put the definitions in for you as a point of reference. So low income has several options to determine low income. We are, because we are still doing self-report, what we're doing is we're asking the individual, are you low income? Okay. You do not have to go into all of these details on a registration form. That'd be insane. So we're not doing it unless at some point we're told we have to. But we are supposed to collect whether or not they're low income. Now, if somebody asks you, well, what do you mean by low income? Then you can let them know some of these possible categories for low income.
Hey, Nancy, this is Rebecca from KCK.
Yeah.
What if they refuse to tell us if they're low income or not?
That's fine. We just don't mark it.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
a prefer not to answer clause in there.
There's just it's you just either leave, you either mark it or you don't mark it. So it's and I've got some questions in the chat boxes. What is the amount that is considered low income? Okay, I think she probably put that in before I put this slide up. So low income, it depends on which definition you're looking at as to what is considered low income. And one of the things that it talks about is when it talks about the 70% of the lower living standard income level and the poverty line. There is a little bit more information on that on the next slide. Okay. So let me go on here. So the definition that they give of lower living standard income level is published by the Secretary of Labor. And then the poverty line is published by the Office of Management and Budget. And it does change, I believe, annually. Oh, it does say annually. Okay. So I can always find that and send it to you guys, but it's going to change each year. So you might be better off to find out where it is and bookmark it. However, again, we're using self-report. We're not verifying that they are low income. We're just asking. Okay. If we find.
It's Rebecca again.
Yeah, Rebecca.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, okay.
What is it a calendar year, or is it like October 1 to September 30th? What's the year that it would change in?
I don't know that, but I think it's a calendar year, but I'm not sure. Does anyone else know?
Do you think it would be on the website?
I do. Absolutely.
Okay, I'll just find out there.
Okay.
If I find out, I'll let you know.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a long time since I looked at poverty level and all that. It's been probably a good 10 years since I've looked at that. So I'd have to do some digging myself to find it and figure out exactly the publishing date and all that, and how, when it's revised. I know when I was at a K-12 program that we used the poverty level for free and reduced lunch. And so we always had it for the school year, but I don't know when that meant it came out. I don't remember it changing in the middle of the school year though. So that would kind of lead me to believe maybe it's not calendar year, but I'm not sure. So not sure about that. But when you find out, let me know. Okay.
One more question. It's me again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Is it the U.S. Department of Labor or the State Department of Labor?
U.S.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay, we have another question. Categories under Program Goals tab. Are we replacing the current categories or adding these to the categories we already have? For the most part, we are adding those. I think there were a couple categories that we were able to get rid of, but for the most part, we are adding them. And when you log into FY17, you'll notice that it looks slightly different, and we've done that to make it so that it's not so crowded on the left-hand side there. So it's underneath, and it spreads it out a little bit better. Okay. Nope. Okay. All right, and then employment status on entry, there's going to be one new option. So you'll still have employed and available, employed, unemployed and available, and unemployed and not in the labor force. But you will also have employed but receiving notice of termination of employment or military separation is pending. Again, this is self-report. But if you do have someone that comes in that has received notice that where they work is closing and they've got, 3 weeks, a month, or whatever, they would fall into this category. Also, if they're, and I know we do not get very many people from the military. If I'm wrong, tell me, but I don't think we get very many people from the military. But if you do have somebody who is within 12 months of separation or 25 months of retirement, 24 months of retirement, where I got 25 from, they would also fall into this category. And again, the employment statuses that we collect are on entry. They no longer tie to the employment outcomes, but they are collected still. And now there's a fourth category. Any questions about this?
It's Rebecca again.
Sure.
Can I use I'm the new kid card?
You can.
Do you want us to collect this information on students that we're currently enrolling, or can it happen in the second quarter enrollment?
It can happen in the second quarter of enrollment, but it should happen pretty much as soon as you can. Right now, you won't find this in Pablo, but it will be shortly.
Okay.
So what I'm doing is, as people make changes to their registration form, I'm having them add the new things. And I know that for some of you, you're not printing new forms yet, but as you go along, you need to make the changes.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Any other questions? Okay. Well, if you ever want to know what a displaced homemaker is, here you go. That's one of the other categories that has been added to Pablo, and one of the few things that's actually defined in the law from those additional categories. So a displaced homemaker, what we typically think of is a dependent or someone who's been dependent on somebody else's income and is no longer supported by that income. That's kind of been what I've always known as a displaced homemaker back from, the late 80s. But we also are adding, we're not adding, the federal definition also adds someone who is a dependent of a member of the armed forces and their family income was significantly reduced because of one of these circumstances. They also say, in addition to one of these categories under A, they must also be unemployed or underemployed and experiencing difficulty in obtaining or upgrading employment. Again, this is something that we should ask. It is self-report, and the definition is to aid you in working with students and determining whether or not they fall into this category. But as of right now, all of these new categories are self-report. We also know that not everything is going to be collected overnight. I think the feds are pretty realistic on the fact that it's going to take a little bit of time to get these things in place. When you come out with guidance on June 30th and the year starts on July 1, you have to expect that. So I think they're being pretty realistic about it. Questions about that? Okay. turn it over to Susan.
So I wanted to talk about the trainings. We're developing in the next couple of months, we have a plethora of trainings that we are going to be offering. The upcoming one right now is on September 15th and 16th, and it is the CCRS Institute 1, which is the Key Instructional Advances. This is the repeat of the same one that was offered in February at KAEA and also in July at Great Bend. So registration is live now, and you have the website there. It's on the Adult Ed website through Kansas Board of Regents site. You can see that right there. It is offered at 2 locations, Great Bend and Lawrence, and both the ELA and the math strands are going to be offered at each location. Now, the caveat with that is that we cannot deliver those trainings if I have less than 10 registered at any one of the 4 strands at the 2 locations. So it is live now. And if you are interested, because I've talked to a lot of you, and a lot of you have said that you're interested in sending staff, please get them registered. The deadline that I stated when I sent the information out to y'all was next Wednesday. I believe that was the 24th. Right now, I have to say that registrations are fairly sparse. So I encourage you to take a little bit of time, make the commitment, and get your staff registered. All of my trainers are scheduled and looking forward to delivering this. This training that we had in July really, really went well. The evaluations at the end were superior. People really came to an understanding how they really could impact instruction in their classroom and strengthen the learning that our students have instructionally through adult education. The next training that's upcoming is going to be the CCRS Institute 2, and as you see, it's the Aligning Curriculum and Instruction to the CCR Standards. Our trainers met in July in Kansas City and had a 2.5-day training with the national trainers. And it really was an eye-opening event. I think that all of them walked away with a much greater understanding on how to look at the resources that they have in front of them and then how to use that as they're designing their instruction. So again, that is going to be offered both at Great Bend and in Lawrence. Both strands are going to be available at both locations. And whether it's CCRS 1 or 2, if there is a session that has some folks that are registered, I will let you all know, and if it has to be canceled because of lack of registrations, those folks will then be able to register for the other location, whichever one that is. It's very complicated, but we'll make it work. The registration for CCRS2 is going to be coming live soon. We will let you know when that happens. And again, in order to attend CCRS2, you have to have successfully completed CCRS1. They really build upon each other, and really, and I think all our trainers will agree too, you can't walk into the second institute without having an understanding of what's going on with the first institute. Both of those, we've whittled down the times and we've customized it and we've really distilled it. I don't want to say whittled because we've really distilled it to the essential elements of the training. So CCRS1 is now about a 7.5-hour training, and CCRS2 is about a 13.5-hour training. We've scheduled this so the starting times and ending times will really give most people in the area an opportunity to arrive at the training in the morning, overnight, one night, and then leave the next day. So we've tried to cut down those expenses also for all of you sending staff. I do have cost recovery listed on this slide, and I do want to address that because you probably will notice if you looked at the registration for July, the cost has gone up for CCRS 1 in September because we've had to implement a cost recovery system for the training. This expense for you covers just a fraction of the cost of training, the cost of the trainers and also the materials, and it is just a fraction of that expense. Again, we've tried to be sensitive to your budgets, and we the trainers have sat down and really looked at how we can adjust the times and the delivery of the training to best suit your needs for the expense of travel. So I wanted to address that so everyone is aware of what that is happening. Any questions, comments? Okay. So STAR training is upcoming. We're in the process now. You know, I think some of you have probably been overwhelmed with some of my emails about the survey and are you going to be attending? Are you going to send staff? We really did have we had 26 different individuals that were interested in STAR Institutes. I've sent those applications out to the programs. They're now in the process of filling out the application. Those are going to be due on Monday the 29th. The Institute's, the central location is in Salina. It will be at the Area Technical College again. We're thrilled to be able to have, you know, a really sweet room to deliver our training. I will say that if you have not received an application from me, and you are still interested, let me know. I will send you the application, but your application, if you haven't previously received it, will be based upon space, because right now our training is full with everyone who indicated interest. And there you see the dates on that. That still is a two-day training, each of those months in Salina.
And it's all 3 of the trainings to complete STAR training.
Exactly.
And I also want to point out, because Susan didn't, she gave people 2 opportunities at least to respond with their interest in attending STAR training. So that's why we had to pretty much say, okay, those that have expressed interest will get first priority.
Any other questions?
Susan, this is Stan Plausenhotch. On the STAR training, have you ever done things with the people that already have that training, updates?
Thank you for asking.
Learning anything?
Yes, we have offered STAR boosters at KAEA each of the last 2. Pardon? So STAR boosters have been offered at KAEA for the last 2 years, and we are planning on offering that again at KAEA. And we also have the possibility, I've written into the contract, if interest warrants, we have another capacity to have another training, a 3-hour training for a STAR booster for staff who have successfully completed previous STAR training. So the STAR boosters are just for those who have taken and completed STAR training. In order to become STAR certified, STAR trained, you do have to attend those 3 institutes over the course of this next year as scheduled.
Right. Okay, I'll look for that.
Okay. Anything else?
Okay. Just a quick reminder, if you have any staff that have left the program, please, please, please make sure that you email IR Help to remove their Pablo access. I cannot stress how important this is. No one that is no longer working for your program should have access to your Pablo data. So please remember, check, make sure there's an exit date in Pablo, and email IR help. If you get off of this webinar and it's tomorrow and you're thinking, oh wait, what were we supposed to do? Email either me or Warren, and we will make sure that it gets done. But you can email IR help directly. And I cannot stress how important this is. It would just take one angry employee, ex-employee, to really, really have a big problem.
Folks, I have one more thing that's not on the screen for you. I will be sending that out late this afternoon or first thing in the morning, and it is a survey document, and it's for the Workforce Innovation Fund. As you know, we are going to be, we are collaborating with Commerce and with VR and with Department of Labor. We're going to be doing joint trainings across all local areas at 4 different times that are being scheduled throughout this fiscal year. In order to best serve everyone who's attending, we are pulling resources from all of the providers. So that will be then compiled into a document where everyone getting that document will be able to see at a snapshot what is available through what agency, at what program, in what location. Trying to keep it simple. I have a one-page document that will expand if you add more information, but it is questions that are fairly easily answered because of what you are currently doing. You know, your organization, the beginning and the end of your program year, you know, your geographical area, what services are these questions were asked of us by the folks that are working with the WIF grant. Who's offering English as a second language? What kind of instructional services are you offering? So I will send you that, and I'm asking that those could be submitted back to me by August 24th. I know it seems kind of tight, but I appreciate this is forefront information. You know, you don't have to seek and do research. This is stuff that you are already working with. So I will be sending that out post haste.
And that actually brings us to the close. We don't have as full of an agenda today as we've had in the past. So questions, good time for questions. It doesn't have to be something that we covered. You can just ask anything. Questions? Well, the only thing I heard was Warren.
Yeah, and I've got something to add.
Oh, okay. Add away.
So I'm going to take over as presenter here for just a second. See if I can get my screen to come up.
Karen Suter has a question before you, or while you're doing that.
Okay, go for it.
The status of the tape. Oh, thank you. Yes. Oh, thank you, Karen. Okay. Yes, I think I have really good news for everyone involving TABE Online. We have no further obligation to pay for anything for TABE Online for FY15. And I am working on a contract for the remainder of FY17. Actually, I said 15. It was 16 okay. Was the test used in 16. So I'm working on a contract for unlimited use for 17, and I'm looking to pay that at the state level. which means that there would be no cost. Yeah, somebody got it. There would be no cost passed on to you for online testing for FY17. Liz is smiling.
I'm the one that said this in Manhattan.
Yeah, Vicki?
I said I was the one that said yay, so I'm happy.
Oh, good. I didn't know. Yeah, all I heard was the background yay. Good. Well, I'm working on the contract. It's not final. It's got a little ways to go before it's final, but I do think it'll go through. And the cost is pretty reasonable based on our usage for last year. And so instead of trying to figure out how to pass along that cost to you, I thought we could just make it work. Okay, and Kristen Heather said, are we required to use online testing? At this point in time, you are not required to use online testing. I would certainly like to go in that direction in the future, but right now, no, you are not required to use online testing. Then Karen Suter asks, so the license management use report I received from DRC doesn't indicate that we would be billed for anything. No, it does not. And if you receive some billing, you please let me know immediately so I can take care of it. Okay? But no, you should not be billed for anything in FY16. And for that matter, FY17. Jason says, I received the report, bit of a scare, but no bill. Yeah, and I looked at the report too, and I'm still not sure of the accuracy of the report, which is why this unlimited use license is a little bit more comfortable. So the unlimited use is priced out at $22,500, which if you did the per use would end up being about 14,000 tests used, which I thought was pretty reasonable considering an enrollment of like 4,000 students. So that's why I decided to accept their figure, because I thought it was pretty reasonable. Okay. Any other questions about the TABE online testing? I will let you know once the contract is finalized. And I'll turn it over to Warren.
Okay. Is what everybody's seeing my email screen here clearly? Because my view seems to be a little tiny thing on the screen.
Warren, I'm not on Skype, so I can't see it. This is Vicki
okay.
Manhattan.
Okay.
Well, I understand.
And Warren, Mary from Salina, I'm just on the phone, so I do not see it either.
Yeah, I understand if you're not. I understand if you're not viewing the screen that you won't be able to see it. But
this is Debbie. I'm viewing the screen, and it is awfully small.
That's what I was. Okay, well, I was just trying, and most of you have gotten emails from me, so you're familiar, and I hope you can at least get a general idea of the area my cursor is in on this email. I just wanted to point out some links that I have in most of the signatures that I send out with my emails. I know I've discussed them with you before to a lot of people, but I just wanted to clarify that. I do have a link at the bottom of my signature here that has a direct link to our web page. I also have one that for our adult ed reports, so you can click on it to go directly to an email for sending something to adult ed reports. And then there's a big click here that takes you to the adult ed resources page. I'm going to click on it now, and hopefully it'll take us to the web page that'll be viewable for you. If you go directly to the kansasregents.org webpage, you'll notice there's a blue banner that goes across the top and the words Academic Affairs. You put your cursor over the words Academic Affairs, a drop-down menu shows up. You just slide that cursor down to where it's over Adult Ed, and there are 4 categories there. about adult education, Meet the Team, adult education centers, and adult education resources, and then the training opportunities and events. The adult ed resources, slide over and down, is where you're going to get most of the stuff that as directors and program leaders you're going to get the most use out of. And I wanted to show you this because we do have an updated, as of today, adult education calendar, which is the very first thing on the page. And thanks to Karen Suter's sharp eyes, I had forgotten to change the FY16 to FY17, so our spring program leaders meeting dates were completely off. That has been fixed. There are a few other little minor things that have been changed on it. So this is always the best place to check the adult education resource calendar because this is the first place we're going to put any updates. Also at the bottom of this page is all of the forms that are available for you for year-end and for quarterly reports. The only thing that's not up there is the statement of expenditures form because right now they are so individually set up for each program that there's just no way to put up a generic one yet. We're working on getting a generic form for everybody. If you have any questions about that, feel free to call me anytime. We're really working to keep these website pages up to date and make them a really good resource for all of our programs and for the general public. Anytime you notice any errors, because you know that I seldom make errors, especially on the calendar, but if you ever notice any errors, please point them out to me and we'll get that updated and on the website as soon as possible. And that's all I've got.
Okay. And I think that's all we've all got, unless you guys have questions. And I'll give it a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Manhattan. When you're on that calendar and you go to like the October program leaders meeting and it says register here, at some point when we click on that, it should take us to the registration, right?
Right. It'll take you to that last page, the opportunities and events page, and when the registration is available, it'll be listed there. But until we have more things down on it, it's just going to take you to that general page. As a matter of fact, most of the things where we do have links on the calendar, it's going to take you to the resources page or to the page on the website where that thing is located. Eventually, I'm going to get that set up with anchors so that when you click on, say, your statement of expense or your capital outlay inventory form, it'll take you directly to that form. But it's a work in progress.
When is the registration for October up yet?
The registration for
the program leaders meeting?
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Right now, the only thing that we have up is for the CCRS Institute 1 training in Lawrence and Great Bend.
Okay.
In September.
Right.
All right. We will try to get the registration for October PLM up here very soon.
I like to get it up at least a month in advance if at all possible, and earlier if I can do earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you all.
Have a good evening.
As always, we appreciate your time. And enjoy what's little left of your summer. Goodbye.
Thank you.